Why do men sit in their cars after work? Every day, millions of men arrive home from work, pull into their driveway, put the car in park, turn off the engine, and then do absolutely nothing. They don't go inside, they don't check the mail, they don't unload groceries, they just sit there. Sometimes for 2 minutes, sometimes for 10. Sometimes long enough that the people inside the house start wondering if something is wrong. The strange part is that this behavior is so common that almost everyone knows about it, yet very few people ever talk about it. Men do it, their wives notice it, their girlfriends notice it, their kids notice it, the neighbors probably notice it, yet somehow nobody ever stops and asks the obvious question. Why? What exactly is happening inside that parked car? At first glance, it doesn't make much sense. After all, if you've spent the entire day wanting to go home, why would you finally arrive and then refuse to go inside? Shouldn't the driveway be the finish line? Shouldn't the front door be the goal? For a lot of men, the answer is surprisingly complicated. Because what looks like sitting is often something else entirely. It's a transition. Think about how many roles a man plays during a normal day. At work, he might be an employee, or a manager, or a business owner. He has responsibilities, deadlines, problems to solve, people asking questions, people expecting answers. For 8, 10, or sometimes 12 hours, his attention belongs to everyone else. Then he drives home, and the moment he pulls into that driveway, something strange happens. The workday is over, but home hasn't started yet. He's caught between two worlds. For a brief moment, nobody needs anything from him. Nobody is asking questions. Nobody is waiting for an answer. Nobody is calling his name from another room. It's one of the only moments in the entire day where absolutely nothing is being demanded of him. And once you realize that, the behavior starts making a lot more sense. Because human beings don't transition very well. Your brain can't instantly switch from one state to another. Imagine sprinting at full speed and then being told to stop on a dime. Your body wouldn't know what to do. Your mind isn't much different. After hours of stress, decisions, conversations, and responsibilities, many people need a few minutes to let the mental engine cool down. For some people, that's a walk. For others, it's a shower. For millions of men, it's a parked car. But that's only part of the story. Because if this were just about relaxation, men could sit on the couch, they could sit at the kitchen table, they could sit in the backyard. Yet many choose the car. Why? Because the car represents something surprisingly rare: control. Inside the car, everything belongs to them. The temperature is theirs, the music is theirs, the silence is theirs. Nobody can ask where something is. Nobody can remind them about a bill. Nobody can suddenly start a conversation about something that happened 3 weeks ago. For a few brief minutes, the world is paused. And in modern life, that pause has become incredibly valuable. In fact, some psychologists believe people need small periods of decompression between major environments. Without them, stress doesn't disappear. It simply follows us from place to place. The car becomes a buffer zone, a waiting room between responsibilities, a place where one version of yourself ends and another begins. Of course, not every man sitting in his car is having some deep philosophical experience. Sometimes they're scrolling social media. Sometimes they're listening to a podcast. Sometimes they're staring into space, thinking about absolutely nothing. And strangely enough, that might be the point. Modern adults spend an incredible amount of time processing information. Notifications, emails, meetings, texts, news, bills, schedules, tasks. The average brain rarely gets a moment of silence. The parked car provides something that has become increasingly difficult to find: a gap. A few minutes where nothing new is entering the system. And while that might sound insignificant, it turns out those moments are often when the brain finally catches up with itself. But here's the funny part. Many men don't even realize why they're doing it. Ask them what they're thinking about, and you'll often get the same answer: nothing. Which is technically true, at least from their perspective. Because what they're really doing isn't thinking. It's recovering. Like letting your phone charge after running all day. Like letting a machine cool down after hours of work. Like sitting quietly after a loud concert because your ears need time to adjust. The brain is doing maintenance. It just doesn't send progress reports. And that's why so many men keep returning to the same strange ritual. Not because they dislike being home, not because they dislike their family, but because for a few brief moments, the driveway becomes the only place where nothing is expected of them. It's the space between two chapters, the pause between two conversations, the silence between responsibilities. And in a world that constantly demands attention, that silence can feel surprisingly good. So the next time you see a man sitting alone in his car after work, staring through the windshield like he's waiting for instructions from a higher power, remember this. He might not be avoiding home. He might not even know why he's still sitting there. He could simply be enjoying one of the last remaining places where nobody needs anything from him.